Hey, what's up, everybody? I am taking a look here at the price of Theta, and today is kind of you know, not too bad. We're a little bit flat today. It's not too bad. So let's take a look here. And let's start with Theta, since Theta is the winner today. Look at that, almost 3.5% for Theta today. Let's take a look here. So obviously Theta's been beaten up pretty massively. I think it's almost finished. The reason why is because we have essentially a three-wave move up and we have a three-wave move down. Now, that doesn't mean for sure it's finished, but that's why we look at this wave here. And when we look at that wave, we can see five. There is a way, there's a couple different ways to count it. So let me show you. The first would be 1, 2, right? And then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, all of that's 3. Then you have 4. Then that is 5. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a completed 5-wave Elliott wave move to the downside, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. That's typically what Elliott wave is, right? There's variations. So I'll tell you some good things. I'll tell you some bad things. Um, the only bad thing that I see, kind of, sort of, is that you're kind of in this little channel here. And I don't really know if that's kind of bottlenecking for the next move down or if that's channeling, kind of like in a kind of a flaggy kind of channel for a break to the upside. I believe, whatever the case may be, we're eventually going to get a retrace back, you know, up to, well, I'll show you right now. Let's pull up the fib levels here. So if we look at the Fibonacci retracement levels, and I mean, we're literally at the bottom, so there's no guarantee that it, excuse me, there's no guarantee that that is the bottom, but I believe that we're very close. Obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs, with China, with the stock market, so we could see some still some pretty intense volatility. But as far as this, I would be very concerned if this was going up, 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 up with all of the news, right? But since it's going down with bad news, with the tariffs and stuff. And by the way, it's not bad news. Tariffs are good news. We're trying to fix massive trade imbalances, because if you transition to a gold standard, you need to fix your trade imbalances because you don't want to be giving away all your gold. And that's what Trump's ultimate plan is. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but he's talked about it before, going back to a gold standard, taking the power away from the central banking cartel, the Federal Reserve, and returning it back to we the people through the U.S. Treasury, right? Transition the currency, right? Because we don't have a currency. We have a debt note. We have a federal, take out your wallet, take out a $20 bill. It says Federal Reserve debt note. That is not money. That is fake money. That is the banker's money, right? So that whole system, in my opinion, is totally corrupt. It's why we have crypto, right? This is exactly why this is why we are in crypto. Well, at least most of us are in crypto, obviously, to make money. I mean, all of us are, right? But the whole reason for crypto is not for you to just make money. It's for really basically opting out of the current system we're in and being able to choose what you want to use based on the utility value of that token, right? Some of them are scams, some of them are memes, some of them are layer ones, layer twos, so there's different, they're all different in their own way, but the market will choose who's the winner. But we're not going to get a winner until we get regulation. And the reason why XRP is the number one asset, we'll go back to Theta in a minute, but just to look at XRP for a second, the reason why XRP is the best performing asset over the last, I think, 6 months or so, or the start of the year or something like that. The reason why is because XRP is the only one that has regulation, right? Back over here, Judge Torres ruled that XRP was not a security. We still don't have complete clarity, right? And that's what the new administration is going to do. I think his name is Atkins. The new SEC was just confirmed. So he just literally started, I think, last week or something. So it's going to take some time for him to get situated and for the plan, their plan to get the ball rolling into regulating crypto, right? Because we have a lot to look forward to when it comes to crypto. First of all, it's tax season. People got their income tax money. I would imagine they're not totally putting it into crypto, but maybe some of them are. So, but we also have tax cuts, right? Let's talk about ammunition. Tax cuts are coming up, right? So, tax cuts are going to be really, really bullish for crypto because that means we have more money in our pocket. And the idea, the skepticism, the the theory is, right, people will buy more things like more stocks, more crypto, more, more products, right? Because why would the stock market go up? Based on earnings, right? Well, if these companies are going to have better earnings because of the tax cuts, then that could be priced in upon hearing, for sure that we're going to get tax cuts, right? And I believe we will. Because that's, we want to reduce our taxes, right? Because we have, and you can say, well, the tariffs, right? The tariffs are a tax that people are going to end up paying. And not all the time, people don't always pay the taxes or the tariffs. Sometimes the companies eat the cost. But if the companies pass the tariff cost down to the consumer can choose not to pay for it. And that's the whole reason for the tariffs, is a deterrent to buy Chinese crap and to start buying American-made stuff, right? But this is why it's called a transition. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be, it is what it is. But the point is, we're moving in the right direction. So when we translate that world, right, to the charts, to me it looks very bullish. Why? Because I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is flagging out really nicely for a fourth wave. So we have a wave one, we flagged out for a wave two, and then we had this wave three, right? And now we're flagging out for a wave four. So the idea here is to get a wave five. And there's a lot of things that could kick off a wave five. For example, you have the tax cuts that are coming up soon. You have regulations, right? If we get a confirmed regulation on crypto, a signed bill of legislation when it comes to crypto or stable coins or whatever, it's going to be a boost in the market. Not only that, right? We're talking about ammunition, because ammunition is what propels the price. And there's a lot of ammunition. For example, the XRP ETF. That'll be a big one. And I believe that's coming hopefully very soon. Hopefully it doesn't take all year, but hopefully it happens soon. So yeah. And then what else do we have? Well, we have Ripple, the company, right? They're going to IPO eventually. You have the RLUSD stablecoin, right? This is just XRP terms. But for the whole crypto market, the big thing is going to be utility. And utility will be really discovered through regulation, right? So, because right now it's just all speculation. So, we still live in a fiat currency sort of analog system. Digital, we do live in a digital system, but it's not as high tech as like XRP. XRP and a lot of other coins are way ahead of their time. But anyway, so let's take a little closer look here at the chart. That's my, because it's not just technicals, it's fundamentals too, right? So yeah, I think XRP looks really good here. Remember, I think we have at A. You take the highest point, which is right there. Take the lowest point, which is right there. There's your A. Take the highest point again. There's your B right there. And then take the lowest point. We have a three-way pullback for wave C. And now we came up in a beautiful wave. And look what we're doing. We're flagging out. We didn't get rejected violently. We didn't come up here like this and crash. We didn't come up here and drizzle, drizzle, drizzle all the way down. We didn't come up here and have a big move down, like a three-wave move. We're flagging out very nicely. This is exactly what we want to see. It looks very nice. The problem though is tomorrow's going to be the weekend, right? So if we get a big weekend pump, I mean, look at this, guys. It's setting up nicely. Look at that. Look at this. First of all, let me zoom in because, right, we have obviously this three-wave move. And is the three-wave move finished? You take the last wave of that wave. Do we have 5? Yes, we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to me, it seems like it's finished. But then we need proof. We need proof. So if we had a three-way pullback, it might not be so good. So what is the proof needed? Well, we need 5 waves. Do we have 5 waves? Yes, we do. You could say, well, they're overlapping. That's because it's not an impulse 5-wave move. It's a diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's in the shape of kind of like a diagonal, right? It's a leading diagonal. You have an ending diag and a leading diag, and this is basically kind of like a rising wedge, if you will. And you can say, well, rising wedges are bearish. Well, in essence, they are, but only for a wave, right? Because most of the time you get 5 waves up and you have a 3-wave pullback, and then you go much higher. And that 3-wave pullback can be very deep, right? We can come all the way back down to 180 and still technically be very bullish. So just be aware of that. So here's the thing though. We don't know. Well, first of all, right, we have 5 waves up. Okay. Now, do we have a 3-wave pullback? That's what we want to look for. Yes, we do. Look at this. We have a 3-wave pullback. So the question is that sufficient enough for the price to go into the 3rd wave? Because if this is wave 1 and this is wave 2, then we should go in the wave 3, right? Or there's no confirmation. Obviously, the confirmation would be if we break this high. Basically that zone would be the confirmation. So essentially what we have, and not really, because here's the thing. When you have a 5-wave move up, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get a 3-wave pullback, it doesn't mean that it's gonna go up from there. The reason why is because that 3-wave pullback could turn into something more complex. For example, you would get 3 waves down, you would get 3 waves up, and then you would get another 3 waves down. And what that does is it makes it a 3-wave move, right? It's just a more complex 3-wave move, right? There's 3s inside of the 3-wave move. So if we translate that to here, we could see something like this where we have 3 waves. Well, let me actually make it all in the same screen here. And let's actually use this instead. So you have 3 waves down, right? So what if this is coming up in 3 waves up? This is a B wave, right? Or an X. Or it could be a B, we don't know. The way you know if it's an ABC is the C wave. And we don't have a C wave yet, so we don't know. So, but you would have 3 waves up, and then you would have either 3 or 5 waves down. So for example, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what that is a 3-wave pullback. And now to me, that looks a lot better. Why? Because it's more proportional with this wave, right? Because right now, this 3-wave move, it looks a little small, right? It looks a little small. So we need it to be like, for example, this is in the same degree, that's in the same degree, right? So it's getting a little bit bigger. Of course, with the diag, the waves do get smaller because you're getting compressed, right? So yeah, so that's idea number one, no particular order. Basically, we would get a wave one, A, B, C, get a wave two, and then go up from there. That's what I believe. That's what I think is happening. All right. That's exactly what I think is happening. So the alternative to that would be that we are finished now and that this is kind of gearing up. We're kind of going sideways. We're building the base and we're about to just go now. We're about to go quickly. Maybe even tomorrow or even later today. But then you have Sunday, So we'll see what happens. But I would imagine I wouldn't get too excited until we break out of the retracement levels. Now, here's the issue though. If this is a 1 and this is a 2, do we have 5 here? And it doesn't look like it. So let's look a lot closer. Let's go to a different chart. Let's go to the other XRP chart. There we go. I guess this will work. So maybe we do have 5 here. We have 1, 2. Yeah, I'm just 3, 4, 5. I mean, I guess that could be some kind of diag, right? And then what happened here, look what happened. You had 3 waves down, that was a flat. And then you had 3 waves up. And now this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, right? So, to the untrained eye, people look at XRP, they look at the structure, right? And they can't make heads or tails of it. Like, what is that? Like, how could you even interpret what the hell this is? And it's challenging, obviously, because it's a smaller time frames. But if I had to read it, there's a couple different ways, right? You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 1, and then you have 3 down, you have 3 up, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So you have a 1, and then you have a W, or no, sorry, an A, and then you come up right there. There's your B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. There's your C. And then what do we have here? We have a 1, 2, and then we have another 1, 2 here. So is this another 1, 2? And we're about to just gear up. And I mean, it's possible. I'm not comfortable saying that for sure. This is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong. So, not that I'm saying that that's what we're doing, but that's a way we can interpret what's happening here. Because to me, you start from the bottom, go all the way up. So that's a move up, and now we're moving down. So what do you think the next move would be? It should be a move up because you would have 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't really make sense for it to come up and then kind of flag out and then it just crash. I mean, I guess so, but it seems like we're flagging out in here a little bit. It seems like this is a corrective move. We had a big A, this is coming down for a B, and then maybe we go up for a C, A, B, C, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on it, right? What's another way we can interpret this? Well, it's a little challenging. I mean, you got to have to look at it for a while. But this could be a flat there. That could be 3 up. This could be 1, 2, and then 3 down. And then now we're on our way for 5 up. I mean, that's one way. Let's see here. You could say like 1, 2, and 3. So that's like a 3-wave move. And then you have 1, and now this is coming up for 2, and then you have another 3-wave move. So 3 up, 3 down, and then it comes, you build a range, you come down, you take out the liquidity, all the stop losses, liquidity grab, then you go up in 5. So 3 up, 3 down, then 5 up, right? So that could be kind of like a flat structure, if you will. So kind of like this, and then it drops, and then it comes back up. Just ideas, not predictions. If you guys want a prediction, I'll give you a prediction. So I'm very comfortable giving this prediction, which is what? Which is a breakout into price discovery. That is my prediction. I believe that will happen. Now, you can't say 100% sure, but I have a lot of confidence and conviction that we will break out. There's just a lot of reasons to be bullish on XRP. I mean, just the way it's shaped. I mean, this came down very beautifully. It came back up, it came back down, and then it came sideways. These are, this is all by this the reason why it needs to do this shape is because you're building, support structures within a basically a whole building. Like, think about a skyscraper, right? You have connecting support beams all inside that, skyscraper to make it as strong as possible so it doesn't topple over. And when you look at year after year after year after year after year after year, that is really, really good. You could say that's bad, but to me, that is really good. The reason why is because, well, just look back over here, right? Look how long this took. Year after year after year after year, we had the same type of structure, right? You came down, you came back up, you came back down, then you went sideways, right? It's all about, at the end of the day, it's really all about the phases of the market, right? So the first phase is the rise, then the crash, then the retrace, then you come down into reaccumulation, then you go sideways. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Blast off, that's what we're waiting for, the blast off. So I would imagine we're somewhere right there, right? So you have the high, the retrace, and soon to be price discovery, the high, the retrace, and soon to be hopefully price discovery, right? But to be honest, I really like the way it's shaping in this zone here, because if you look, you have the retrace high and then you have the all-time high. But if you look inside here, this is all empty space. And the reason why it's taking a long time is because it's filling in those gaps, right? It's like you're putting cement. Like, let's say somebody got mad and punched a hole in the wall, all right? And you're going to show the house to, somebody who's going to buy the house. They don't want to see a hole in the wall. So what do? They fix the hole. How do they fix it? They go to Home Depot and they get a patch, right? And you fill it up, and that's what's happening here, right? So basically, you're filling in that hole. You're filling it in with structure, just like how you have all this structure down here, right? You have all of this structure here, right? These are support beams, right? This is all, it's like it's almost like, kind of like a spider web, or like a beaver dam, I don't know, but I can give you analogies all day long, but the point is, the overall direction is up, right? Because if you take where we were at the very beginning, which is down here, that's the very beginning, and then you draw a line to where we are now. So draw a line all the way to where we are now. Let me ask you a question. Where is that line going? Is that line going up, or is that line going down? Obviously, it's going up. You can see very clearly that line is going up, right? So if we extend that line further, I mean, come on, So obviously, it won't happen overnight, but eventually it should happen. Especially, again, that's why back in October, I kept talking about the election and Trump, like that was the key to all of this. So now that we got it, now it's just all a matter of time. Let the things work out. So yeah. And here's the thing. If we were up here and we were doing like something like this, I would be a little bit nervous, right? Something like that. But if you look closely, we're flagging out to the downside. We're oscillating nicely to the downside. We're not crashing. Let's take a look at, for example, like this top over here. You can see, you know, you were getting rejected. You kind of had a little bit of a flaggy look to it, but it ended in disaster. Or this over here, where you had a crash, you came up, and then you got blocked. Red, green, red, green, red, green, right? You were in a basically an order block that you couldn't escape, and you crashed, right? But here, you can see it's different, right? You can see we're sloping down. We're correcting nicely, right? We're back testing. Look at this 4-day doji candle, right? So everything looks perfect on XRP. I think it's just a matter of time. You know, if I had to paint the picture, the best thing I would say is, you know, let's develop a little bit of a base in here, right? I mean, you don't necessarily have to, but like, you know, maybe we pull back a little bit here. Like we had that more complex three-way move. You know, we come up, we play around a little bit, but then we eventually get back up to here, right? Maybe pull back a little bit more and then eventually, you know, break out, right? So that's you know, it's easy to say that. Let's see if it actually takes place. I think it will. So yeah, you know, when we were oscillating in here, right? Oscillating in here, right? Typically things break out. Now, if you're oscillating to the upside, right, you gotta sometimes break to the downside. That's not really a good example, but pretty much that's XRP. So real quick again on the small time frames. You know, is this flagging out in here? I think so. I think this is flagging out very nicely. So if we have to pop the high and then come down in a three-wave move and then go up, right? I could see that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for XRP. All right, let's take a look at, obviously we'll go back to Theta. So Theta, looking at the small time frames, well, first of all, let's just not forget where we are here, right? Obviously, we have this big wave to the downside, totally different than XRP, right? But with great devastation comes great potential percentage. So in reality, Theta looks much worse, but could offer you better gains because it's so oversold and it's so, you know, just to get to, you know, let's say we bottom out here and we go into a retrace. That's a lot of percentages right there, right? So, but anyways, um, you know, if this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if that 5-wave move is finished, which I think it's a very good chance it is, because if you look here, you could see like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. It's kind of ugly, but it is what it is. We took the low. All right, this is important. We took the low here, but look at all the bullish divergence we just made by doing so. Right, you can see from there to there, right, and then you also have yeah, that's the daily chart. Okay, yeah, the daily looks pretty good. Do we have any on the 2-day? Right, we have divergence on the 2-day, plus we're oversold. All right, and then not only that, but I like when you break the low and you get the doji. So I think Theta is pretty much gonna go. I don't think there's too much downside left. I mean, you could have one more little low here, you know, on this time frame. You know, when I say one more low, it depends on what time frame we're talking. On this time frame, you know, you can see like 1, 2, 3, maybe this is 4, and then we get one more for 5. Possible, right? But again, I'll say what I said last week. I think we're very close, you know. So let's see how it plays. But let me go back real quick to the 1 hour. wait a minute, was it the 4 hour here? So yeah, so when we look at the 4 hour, let's turn on the sequential. Yeah, we got 3 9s, right? We got bullish divergence, we're oversold. We got 5 waves down. XRP look, everything looks like it's getting very close to turn around. Let me see what's going on with this wave here. Yeah, we're kind of building a base right here. We're building a base, right? Because that was a stop loss, so there's a liquidity grab right in here. So let's see. Let's see if we can get back into the 70 cent range, or if we have one more low. But when it comes to Theta, you got to have a long-term perspective. You can't just be like, today, tomorrow, next week. This is a long journey, right? Let's say you have a $2,000 in Theta. Well, that $2,000 is going to appreciate over time, but right now it's not, obviously. So to me, it just means more opportunity at the end of the day, right? Because you can't deny that's a 3. So even if it is, we need some kind of pullback. Now, just like when XRP bottomed, we had a 5 wave, we had a diagonal, right? And then you get a 3-wave pullback, and then we can go up. So that's what we want to see. We want to see a 5-wave move come off of the low. Otherwise, we have to expect more downside, right? So we need that 5-wave move off the low. But first, we need this to be complete, right? And I think it's very close. So let's just wait and see. Monero is looking better and better and better and better and better. I mean, look at the flag now. I mean, wow, look at that. That is a perfect flag. You have a perfect, we got it right from the beginning, but I just didn't know how big it was going to be, right? Because, when we were looking at Monero, we were thinking this was a running flat. But it is a running flat, but it's a running flat like, instead of like this, we didn't know at the time, it was a bigger running flat like this, A, B, C, right? So yeah, so there you go. So now if we take a downward trend line, resistance line, you could take it here, but I'll take it here. You could see we are starting to break out if you don't count the wicks. If you do count the wicks, I want as many touches as possible. So I would put it like right about there. And you can see we're breaking out. You know what I mean? So if this 4-day candle, by the way, the 4-day candle closes today, which is interesting. That's a good thing. Let's go to the daily then. Right, and the daily is a little bit different. I'll have to put it up a little bit more. There we go, right there. So we're not quite there yet. But yeah, Monero I think it looks great. The reason why Monero looks really good, and you can say, who cares about Monero? Because Monero has the same structure XRP does, right? You have the rise, crash, retrace, you come down into reaccumulation, you go sideways for years. You break out with a bullish running flat with a 5-wave move and a 3-wave pullback and a back test. I mean, come on. It just seems to me that that's the direction, right? Especially since the dollar is crashing. I think this is a deception. I think this is, and that's the whole thing, right? Like everyone was super bearish, and they should have every right to be because what we've been seeing here. But to me, I think it's a trap. I think this is a trap. So I think, whatever is happening over the last couple of months cannot outweigh what's happened over the last 7 years, guys. All right. So whatever is going on in the world, will it supersede the size of this structure? I don't think so. I think this structure is very bullish. Again, if I compare it to, let's compare it to Bitcoin. I was going to compare it to XRP. Let's compare it to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the example, right? So if you look at Bitcoin, right, you have the rise, you have the rise, you have the crash, you have the crash. You come up on the retrace, and then you go sideways very nicely. You have the liquidity grab, right? You come down, you go sideways, just like what Bitcoin did, right? And then you break out. Look what happened to Bitcoin. It went all the way from 10,000 all the way up to $70,000. Okay. So there's no reason why Monero can't as well. Yeah, I don't know what's going to kick it off. Monero is obviously a privacy coin. Maybe there's a data. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could come out in the news that could propel something like Monero, like maybe the government spying on people's bank account. I don't know. Like there could be anything that could propel the price, but I don't even care about that. I only care about what's going on in the chart, and what I see on the chart. Let's go to the weekly chart. What I see in the weekly chart, to me, looks like we're flagging, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a 5-wave move up to the upside, right? So we had kind of like a diagonal shape, right? And then we have an A, a B, and then a C. And that is actually proportional with this 5-wave move, right? Because we didn't want, because remember we had it before ABC, and that was my fault. That was too small. I should have known better. I should look out. I need to look out a little bit when it came to that. But you could see the pullbacks are roughly the same size, right? But this one is a lot bigger, and that's what we want, because this bigger correction is correcting the 5-wave move, versus like for this correction is correcting wave 1, right? This whole thing needs to correct all of the waves, right? So it should be bigger, and it is, right? So I hope this is a running flat. It seems like it is, and I bet we're going to break out very soon. And if we can get a weekly candle close, I'll tell you, I'll make another prediction. If we get a weekly candle close above above 222, or we'll say 223, up to 230. We'll just say between 225 and 230. If we get a weekly close above that, I think we're on our way, man. I think we're on our way pretty nicely. So anyways, that's Monero. Let's keep moving here. Let's take a look at Sia coin. This one was a good one too, right? I think obviously you got 3 waves up, you got 3 waves down. You have A, B, C, D, E. I mean, everything's saying bullish. This chart is also saying very bullish. Let's take a look at AVAX. AVAX is also saying if it was just XRP that looked bullish and everything else looked like a disaster, I'd be a little concerned. But there's a lot of charts that are looking good. Even Theta, it looks like it should be turning around very soon, right? So, either this is like 3, but it's not. It's 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That could be A, and then you have this move up. That could be B, and then you have 1, 2, and then we're not finished with 3, and then we get 4 and 5 for C, and then we go up. That's the bearish idea, and that could totally happen, right? And that's a 1, and this is a 2. So if the tariff and the stock market keep crashing and we crash until the end of the year, then that would be the count we should look for. And then 2026 would be the big moment, right? Or, we have this impulse here, and we have a 3-way pullback, right? So actually it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an A. And then you would have 3 waves up. And then you would have 3 waves down, and then you would get hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. And this whole thing would be a B, and then you would have to come down and then go sideways for like maybe a flat or something for a C, right? Or it could be kind of like a W pattern where you come down here and then you continue higher. Like for example, if we look at Bitcoin real quick and we look at Bitcoin right, actually total 3 is the one here. So you see right here in total 3, right? You got the pump, you got the crash, you got the pump, you got the crash. You got this move up, you got this move up, and then look at this. You have this three-way move down. Well, would you look at that? You got the same kind of three-way move down. And then what happened after that? A major bull run. What could potentially happen? A major bull run. So I mean, it's it's right there. It's very, very possible, right? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A five-way move down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or actually 1, 2, 3. See, there's a thing though. There's a discrepancy here. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is A, B, C, or I mean, I'm sorry, is this a flat there, or is it 1, 2, and then this is 3, and then this is A, B, C for a 4, and then that's 5. That's probably what it is. This right here, boom, 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 is a flat. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, flat, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you had a five-way move up, you had a five-way move up, and you had a three-way pullback, you had a three-way pullback. So yeah, it looks great. I mean, there you go. So let's go. Let's go. All right. So if we look at the small time frames, oh yes, yeah, it's look at the double bottom. You got the double bottom, and I bet you have excuse me, I bet you have divergence. Let's see. Oh man, you got very powerful divergence. Look at that. Look at that. Triple daily bullish divergence. I mean, come on. And you have 5 waves, and you're in this. I mean, it's just like, dude, am I the only one bullish? I don't know. Let's see. Is it on the 2-day chart? Oh, look at that. Look at that divergence on the 2-day. Right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 waves. You got divergence between the 3rd and the 5th. I mean, come on. Here's the problem though. I'm going to give you one alternative, and here's the problem right here. So we don't know if this is all part of the 4th wave, right? Because we're doing it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what if that's not it? What if it's like this: 1, 2, and then we have 3, and then this is A, B, C, and that whole thing is wave 4, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and that whole thing is wave 4. It's a flat. It's a flat for a wave 4, right? And then we come down for a wave 5, and then we're done. Well, whatever. I mean, if that has to happen, then whatever. But I think whatever the case may be, we should ultimately start heading back up. I think the way we're going to know is if we start breaking above this here. But by that time, it's already too late. So you got to kind of place your bets now, So I would just track the small time frames. Like, let's take a look here. Because, yeah, look at this. We have an impulse here. I just, if this is 3 and this is 3 and this is 5, that could be a flat. And this could be coming down for a wave 5. That is a very, very real risk. Or, but here's the problem with that. This doesn't look like 3 to me. It looks like 5. It looks like for sure 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think this was the 5th wave. I'm pretty sure. And then here's the cool part. We also have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a diag and a diag. So, or is that? Yeah. So we have a 5-wave move, and then look at this. You have A, B, C, a 3-way pullback. But we don't know if it's going to be another 3 up and then another 3 down, and then we go, or if we kind of build a base and then we go up, or does this have to work its way back down here before we go up? I mean, those are the things we're going to be looking and waiting and seeing, So that's AVAX. We did ICP. All right, Bitcoin is also looking it's looking good. You know, we have 5 waves. We also have a diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have A, B, C. So I don't know if we're gonna get another 3 up and then another 3 down, you know, make it a little bit bigger. I mean, I would imagine so. You know, it seems like that would be the case. But yeah, you got the divergence, you know. I mean, things are looking pretty decent right here. So, but you know, just because I'm bullish and just because I think it's decent doesn't mean we're going to go up from here. Again, we can always come back down and revisit the lows way down here and still be kind of, you know, and still be technically bullish because we're building that base. We're going to the top, to the to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom. We're filling in the structure. So, you know, we're at 84K today. We can literally drop down to 78K, and you know what I mean? So just be aware of that. The bottoming process is a grueling one. So SHIB, look at SHIB, man. SHIB looks pretty decent here. Look at, oh. So look at SHIB. Okay, so SHIB, this is what I like because it's very clear, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, C, and that A, B, C is proportional. So, and then you have this move here. So I don't know if we're going to get a move down and it becomes a bigger 3, or if this is a 1, 2, and we're about to go now. So I don't know. You know, it's a tough one because you have point A, point B, point C. You're right in the retrace, so it's very challenging to know exactly. But that's why we just track it. You know, near. Yeah, I don't really. You know, you got 5 here and near. You got 3 down. You know, if this is a 1 and we get a 2, maybe we can get going here. Again, near is the same as ICP, pretty much. It's got that major 3-way pullback, impulse 3-way pullback, very bullish overall, long term. ADA is looking a lot better. You got 3 down, you got 3 up, and you got 3 back down. Looks good. Looks good. Nothing wrong. So we'll see. Is this an impulse and a flag, and then we can get going here? Or do we kind of have to like build a little bit of a base in here before we get going? We'll see. But ultimately, I think, you know, you have an impulse and you're flagging out. So ultimately, you should break out at least for a retrace. So there's a common theme here. You know, if one chart said that and all the other charts didn't, you know, it'd be different. But if all the charts are having confluence with a move back up, you know, is that 5? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Right? You know, because you have a wave 1 and then an A, B, C, you know? So it could be done. Litecoin. Litecoin, you had an A, B, C. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and C. And now, is that an impulse off the low? Let's take a look at the small time frames. And we do. We have a diag. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we flagged out here and we're kind of popping up a little bit. So not bad at all. I mean, everything looks good. CRV, what's going on here? Yeah. You know, you got 3 up, so I don't know. I would kind of wait for that. I think we're good. I think we pretty much got everything. That's a 5-wave move there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a 3-way pullback. You got a little bit of a base. So I mean, we could be at the moment here because, you know, this could be a bigger 3. This could be 5, 3, 5, and then what do you have? You have a 3-way move, and then you have the, you know. So this needs to turn into 4 and then 5. You know, so the subwaves turn into larger impulses. HBAR, I don't like it as much because it doesn't look like 5. It looks like 3. And it looks like 3 down. So I'm just kind of like, eh. You know, it looks okay zoomed out, but put it this way, if we get a big move up in the market, obviously HBAR would go as well. Filecoin. Filecoin, let's see. Let's go up to the 3-day. So the 3-day chart, we have crazy, insane bullish divergence. Look at this. Boom. And then boom. So definitely have that working for it. Yeah, even on the 4-day. Even on the 5-day. What about the weekly? It's very, 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 very hard to get bullish divergence on the weekly. Very hard, but we got it. We technically have it, you know. But here's the problem. We don't know if this is finished yet. It could keep coming down, and it could be taken out. But the way I look at Filecoin is you have 3 waves up, you have 3 waves down, so we should get 5 waves up, 3, 3, 5. So because if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's an A, and then you have 3, but that's not proportional with the 5. So then you need another 3, and then another 5, and then A, B, C. Now this A, B, C, this 3-way pullback is much more proportional with the 5, right? And that 3 can turn into, another 3 down and then another move up. So we'll see. Matic, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. Just like that. A, B, or W, X, Y. Right? Question is, do we have 5 waves in here? It looks like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it looks like it, So we could literally be at the bottom, man. I mean, if I had a lot of extra cash on the sideline, which I kind of don't, but if I did, I would be definitely buying a lot right now. Now, as far as my trades go, I'm looking for longs. I'm looking for longs. So Ethereum, yeah, Ethereum's just, you got 3 down, you got 3 up, and you got 3 down. So this could be a 3. This could be like a running flat or something, This wave is very impulsive, but at the same time, C waves are, and we're right here, we're right down here. I think this is, we had look at the doji candle on the weekly. We haven't had one in a while. So we had a pretty nice looking doji there, right? And you have what appears to be 5 waves. So everything's looking okay. So far, so good. Look at XLM though. I mean, XLM just looks so super tight. It looks really, really tight. I mean, this is like the epitome of what a bull flag looks like. I mean, how could people be bearish? I mean, look at it. It's just flagging out. I mean, it's cocking back. It's like a slingshot. You're pulling that slingshot back, and then when you let go, it's gonna fly and it's gonna catch people by surprise. So, Algo, I haven't looked at this one a little bit. It's not as nice looking as a flag, but it is what it is. So, anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, not financial advice. I could be wrong. If you can hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.